This video was supposed to come out on Christmas, but due to complications that was not going to happen, so consider this a very late Christmas special. I would think that the worst episode of King of the Hill will be a Christmas special. It works out for me to make another worst episode video and a Christmas special, so it works perfectly. Now if you need a synopsis for the show, I'm going to let Hank explain them for himself.
Well, Mr. Matoyan, I'd say y'all got the makings of a damn good cartoon here. I mean, you got my wife, Peggy, and she's real smart. She teaches Spanish.
I sure do. Yo hablo español.
Isn't that something? And I'm real proud of my boy Bobby because because he's my boy.
A bee stung my head.
Put some ice on it, son. So, I got my neighbors, too. Dale, Bill, and old Boomhauer.
Hi.
Howdy.
This is the worst episode of the show. I guess I should start with a positive. I love the little Christmas rendition of the typical themes.
Due to last year's unfortunate kissing incident, mistletoe is banned from this year's Christmas party.
Tell me about it. I accidentally kissed my toaster under the mistletoe this year.
You
Shut
are
up.
so funny.
Meet this nice old lady named Mrs. Wakefield. Remember that. Nice old lady. Nice old lady. Mrs. Wakefield says she used to live in Hank's house. Now Hank, being an understandable guy, figures that she's an old lady that's gone crazy and just decides to be polite and let her have a tour of his house. Mrs. Wakefield is telling innocent stories about losing a friendship ring down the sink and other old people stuff like that. So after arguing, Peggy agrees to let Mrs. Wakefield come visit, and after Mrs. Wakefield uses compliments and some deception, Peggy starts to like Mrs. Wakefield, and you can already tell something isn't right from the deception and compliments.
This is where my sister died.
Claimed that her sister died in Hank's house, and then she claimed that she wants to die in Hank's house. Now Hank, being understandably put off by that, politely says no, and then she tries to run and lock herself into the bathroom, but after Hank manages to talk her out, she still wants to die, and then politely escorts her outside his house to be taken home, but she keeps forces and fighting and begging to die in Hank's house. Next day, Mrs. Wakefield comes back, apologizing to Hank for the scene she caused, and then she politely asks, could I use the bathroom? But it turns out that she wasn't trying to use the bathroom, she was trying to lock herself into the bathroom so she could. Next day, Hank's family is at the store, so she tries to break and enter to their house while his family is at the store, and Hank finds out, rushes home, calls the cops, and escorts her out, but his neighbors are all booing. Why are you harassing that poor old lady? It's Christmas. Can't you have a little Christmas spirit? Even though she broke and entered to his house and done other horrible things, and they're all booing Hank.
If she were trying to break into your homes and die, you'd do the same thing, I tell you what.
Is a completely legitimate response, and they're still mad at him after he gave that perfect legitimately response.
What have I done wrong?
Absolutely nothing.
Tell you what you've done wrong. You've trespassed and broke into someone's house. Hank reads Mrs. Wakefield's obituary, and the next day it's the Christmas party, but it turns out Mrs. Wakefield broke into Hank's house again and is hiding and tries to ruin his Christmas party. After they have a conversation, Hank apologizes to Mrs. Wakefield, sort of, and they become friends, and Mrs. Wakefield gets off the hook. Even though she never apologizes for what she did, she broke and entered and broke actual laws, and since this show is more realistic than most cartoons, they have actual consequences in real life, so that's just horrible. She gets off scot-free at the end, and the neighbors never apologize about Hank. Oh, you're serious about her wanting to die in your house? Oh, we were wrong. Sorry, we never get to apologize from the old lady or his friends who were booing him earlier for trying to get her out of the house, even though he was in every right to. I'm so angry I'm stuttering here. Anyway, this is the worst episode of King of the Hill, and it had to be a Christmas special, and now I'm going to go over every detail. Let's start with a small detail. Since this episode aired in the later seasons, the animation was upgraded, but I personally am not that fond of the upgraded style. Anyway, that is a small nitpick, but this episode is just bad. There's not really any jokes to speak of. That old lady tries to break into his house, and she clearly needs mental help, and since this show is more realistic, that's what should have happened. She should have got mental help, or should have got some sort of punishment instead of just getting off scot-free. I don't know what I probably would have went with Arrestor, but still, that ending was horrible, and that's what made me decide to do this episode, because that was just a horrible ending, and it was just an overall unfunny episode, and Bloodhounds get insulted in this episode, so that's also another reason why I decided to make this episode. I mean, this episode is just unfunny, has real problems, and it's just an overall bad episode. I just wanted to make a video. Just remember, if you don't hit the like and subscribe button, Hank has this to say to you.
I'm gonna kick your ass.